Well, this is talking head, but this isn't political stuff. This is the novel, the continuation of the novel, just to get it out there. So, from 2004, the inception of the Patriot Act, in our last novel, we had home intrusion through foreign governments, namely the Chinese, with our hero, who through, what would you say, sacrifice, monumental self-sacrifice, succeeds against the Chinese, or so it seems. Is it about 2010, especially 2000, starting in 2008, then 2010, then 2012? Our hero re-engages with society, the society that he had to, was separated from and separated himself from, so as to be able to isolate and identify his enemy. He re-engages society. And he realizes that while he was fighting his personal battle, everyone else was taken to task too. All of his fellow Americans were taken to task in much the same way, and he found that nearly all of them had settled or been defeated or been deceived through media, essentially. Because when our hero re-engages society, he realizes that what's been happening to him on an individual micro scale in his own life, where there have been imposters of people sent, there's been infiltration, an attempt. That's also been happening on the larger scheme, the macro level, in the institutions for this whole time, this 10 years or so, however many years. So when our hero re-engages society, he finds that upper level and mid-level of every institution, as far as management or administration, are all corrupt. They want, they enjoy, it's like the people who were going to be corrupted or forced into it, which is the majority of people, enjoyed that kind of power, that abuse of power, being able to invade and spy and get away with murder. So he starts seeing this. When our hero re-engages society, he's on the lower level. So he meets people and he starts seeing how the people that he's engaged with or that he interacts with go through a process of being normal people, normal folks, a student, a neighbor, whoever, to a change, to an intervention, and to where someone who has a wet dream to offer, like drugs, like drug deals, anything, crime, a position in a degree, a diploma, a job, a girlfriend, all of that stuff, and suddenly this person who was relatively normal and a known to our hero becomes an operative themselves and starts facilitating the in and out and the fraud. So that's novel number 2, is that our hero understands finally that while he may have gotten them out of his own personal life, it didn't matter to the Chinese because they had corrupted 98% of everything around him. It was like, okay, our hero has, but that we were only distracting him and people like him. Okay, while the vast majority of people, if offered something, for a bad deal, will take it. So, you know, and how around 2012 we started seeing in our novel, of course, we started seeing a shift. How the institutions and politics had usurped everything, and how corruption really took root, as in you had foreign infiltrators in the government or behind who are controlling someone who would then reach out and network with other people and blackmail or corrupt them, or they would be totally on board already with, you know, corruption, as in, like, I'm gonna hire somebody who I know I can control with drugs or sex or money, or even nowadays, just the promise of friendship seems to be enough. But and how it went that way. You know, it was like kind of like a blase blah, laissez faire attitude. Anything goes. You know, insanity in politics towards nothing but a destructive control scheme. And then the shift back. Okay. So, you know, interactions with other, like, it wasn't so much that the Chinese interacted with our hero in our second novel, it's that they didn't have to, because they had got their tentacles into pretty much everybody globally, you know, so they could set things up to where maybe they might not even have so much to do with it. Noting the differences in the approaches. The differences in the philosophies of, like, let's say, you know, the Chinese Communist government and how they would go about their procedure would not be the same as, like, let's say maybe like Africans or like Haitians, you know, but still it has the same overarching fundamental thing of, like, you know, war with America. So that's just a novel that I'm thinking of. I'm gonna write one day. Lots of little ins and outs.